Welcome back into the Dynasty Nerds YouTube page. I'm Garret Price, and today I'm going to be talking about an incredibly unique strategy for your startups. Let's dig in. All right, Garret Price back here, and I want to talk about startup strategy because I think sometimes we don't talk enough about strategy. And I've preached before on here, making sure that you're getting the best available player, trading down when you can, different things like that. But I'm going to talk about a unique strategy that I just implemented in a league. And, we don't know the exact results right now. We're going to have to see how this plays out. But I've heard some similar concepts before from a few other people, but I thought I would do it to the absolute extreme. So, you ready for this? In a startup, I didn't make a single selection, not one, until the 10th round. You heard that right. The first player that I picked that actually stuck on my team anyway, I didn't select till the 10th round. Now, there were a couple players I selected and then traded, but I didn't actually stick with a single player on my roster until round 10. Now, you're thinking, how in the world is that a good strategy? You need players to win games, Garret. You're giving away everything. Well, obviously, this season, I am a little bit. But there's a few things we need to take into context here. The strategy works well when there's a good incoming rookie class. The 2022 class was not one we expected to be that good. So it wouldn't have been a great strategy to do that right before then. Now, I still think you could have done okay, but you want to make sure that there's a good incoming class. The reason I say that is because with all of this trading down, I now have in my bank, in my kitty, in my pool, on my team, whatever you want to call it, I have 8 2023 firsts. On top of that, I have 2 seconds. And then in 24, I have 5 firsts and 4 seconds. So I have tons of future draft capital. 23, as of right now, is looking like one of the best classes we've seen in a while, comparable to the 2020 class. Similar to what we saw out of the OBJ, Allen Robinson, Brandon Cooks, all of those guys, Mike Evans. That was an amazing class, but more on the running back side than on the receiver side. So that's why I think it compares more favorably to the 2020 class. Now, 8 firsts this year, 5 firsts next year, 6 seconds between the 2 years. Now, I do have a couple extra like lower round picks and things like that. Now, before I get into what these picks could be, I do want to mention that in the 10th round, we need to make sure we're careful with our strategy because, yes, even though they're later picks, we need to make sure that we're still utilizing them the right way. If I go in there and take who would be somebody, Matt Ryan, because it's a super flex league, which he is still on the board in this league, wouldn't be the best pick. Even though it's a super flex league, I'm planning for the future. So quarterbacks wise, I'm not taking anyone over the age of 30, and that's probably an absolute max. Running back, I'm probably not taking hardly anybody. If I do, they're probably rookies or second year guys. Receivers, I want under the age of 25. And tight ends, I want under the age of probably 26. So the only pick, now we're midway through this. I finally made my selection in the 10th round, took Cole Kmet, young tight end that I think has a lot of upside for this season. There's a couple quarterbacks in here still that I would be interested in. Carson Wentz, Davis Mills, and then if I want to go like way upside, Desmond Ridder, Matt Corral. So there's still some potential upside. So don't just give up once you get to that point and just say, well, I got a bunch of picks and I'm good. No, keep looking for upside plays throughout. And really that's all you care about because you're not necessarily expecting any of these guys to hit. You're just looking for upside. And who knows what these players could be. We've seen tons of players that would have been taken way late in drafts that end up being huge finds the following season. So don't give up. Now, I mentioned what these picks could be because of how good the 23 class is. And so far, the 24 class is looking pretty solid as well. For this strategy to work, though, once again, I mentioned it has to be good draft classes. You don't want to do this on years that you think are going to be poor classes. So it compares closely to 2020, we believe. We never know for certain. That's what we're betting on is it's close to 2020. So I compared it to the last 2 years. I compared it to what the draft would look like in 2020 and in 2021 just to give you a sample of who I would get at each spot. So for this exercise, I assumed that luck wasn't super great for me. I get the 101 because it's my pick and I haven't drafted a player yet. So I would say I'd get the 101. But then I'm saying I lose out on every other until pick 9. So the 4 picks I don't have in the 2022 draft, but this example for 2020, 2021 would be 02, 04, 06, 08. All right. We'll assume that. So here we go. At 101, I would be getting Joe Burrow. And these are from real drafts. These are from real drafts that happened. These are not just me like guessing who would be there. This is actual drafts. 101, Joe Burrow. He's looking pretty darn good in Superflex. Most people have him top 5. If not, he's definitely top 7 on everybody's board. 103, Jonathan Taylor, the top running back in fantasy football right now for Dynasty. 105, CeeDee Lamb. Hasn't quite broken out yet, but he's still going to be in top 15 in almost every Dynasty wide receiver list. 107, Justin Jefferson. Enough said. 109. So once again, I missed out on 02, 04, 06, 08. So then I have the last 4 picks of the first round. If this was in 2020, then I would add Justin Herbert, DeAndre Swift, Jalen Reagor, and Cam Akers. Now, out of that whole group, the only one that you would be like, dang, that stinks, is Jalen Reagor. The rest of them, you hit. You did amazing. Because it's a good class, there are more bullets in that gun. And that's what you're going for. If you're able to get 6, 7, 8, 9 picks in the next year's draft by doing this strategy, you know that chances are if you only miss one, you did great. But chances are you're going to miss out on 2 or 3 of those. That's okay. You're just looking for as many shots at it as you can. In this class, your starting lineup in Superflex would be Justin Herbert and Joe Burrow. Your running backs would be DeAndre Swift and Jonathan Taylor. Your wide receivers would be CeeDee Lamb and Justin Jefferson. And your flex would be Jalen Reagor and Cam Akers. It's pretty good. All right. So you say, but Garrett, that is a great class. What if it's not as great of a class? Well, coming into 2021, we didn't think 2021 was going to be that great. I think it ended up surprising people a little bit, but it still wasn't a crazy, amazing draft class, at least on the surface. So now, after they played, obviously we liked quite a few of those guys even more. But this is what it would have looked like if I would have had it in the 2021 class. Trevor Lawrence at 101. Jury's definitely still out on him, but a lot of upside. Miss out on 102, 103. Kyle Pitts. Pretty darn good tight end. Miss out on 104, 105. Jamar Chase. He's amazing. Miss out on 106, 107. Najee Harris. He had an amazing rookie year. Miss out on 108. 109, Javonte Williams. 110, Mac Jones. 111, Jalen Waddle. And 112, Michael Carter. Once again, the only one that you're like, dang, is Michael Carter. Everyone else you're very happy with. Even Trevor Lawrence at the 101, you're like, I'm not sold on him. But if you walked away with those 8 players from a draft, think about how good your team would be today. You would be starting Trevor Lawrence and Mac Jones at quarterback. Decent. But then at running back, you're starting Javonte Williams and Najee Harris. You're thrilled about that. At receiver, Jalen Waddle, Jamar Chase, looking great there. And then you have Michael Carter as your, flex guy. And that's not super great. But overall, oh, and I forgot to mention Kyle Pitts at tight end. Yeah, Kyle Pitts at tight end. Probably the top dynasty tight end right now. So that is why this strategy can work. Is it foolproof? No. But also remember, we're not just acquiring just 23 class. We're also acquiring 24. There's guys in that class that look really, really good. Xavier Worthy out of Texas looks like a great wide receiver. Travion Henderson, some argue that he might even be more talented than Bijan Robinson that's coming out this year in 2023. So 2024 looks good as well. That's why we do this. It's to gain a bunch of assets that are all going to be young, under our control for a long time. Yes, are you basically just paying in your fee for the first 2 seasons? Yeah. Don't expect to win a lot of games. In fact, if you're doing it right, you're probably not going to get a lot of games to help make sure that you get that 101. I'm not saying intentionally tank, but you just won't have the players to win a lot of games. But that's why we do it. That's what you could walk away with. That's how you can have a treasure trove of a lineup by going with this strategy.